This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
We're talking about giving strangers a lift, and I've just had a sudden flashback to when I was in New Zealand and I was driving from Queenstown to Lake Tekapo, and I was getting messages on my phone, and so because I was on my own, I pulled into a little rest area to check my phone, and I'm just sitting there, and then I think, okay, I'll answer the message, I can go now. And then there's a knock on my window, and there's this young bloke standing there, and I wind the window down. I'm like, hello? And he said, he was Austrian, and so I won't do his accent, but it sounded a little bit like Arnie. And he said, we're about to run out of petrol and we realise that we're too far from the next petrol station. Yeah. And he goes, would you be able to drive me to the town? He said, which way are you going? And I said, that way. He said, can you drive me there? And I'm like, okay. And then, so then I'm thinking, he said, I'll just go and grab my stuff or whatever. There were three of them travelling in a car together. And so I'm like, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea.
Better.
This is a bad idea. I know better than this. Anyway, okay, no worries. And then he comes back and then he said, my friend's coming too. So then so I've taken my bag off the passenger seat and put it in the back because I thought there was just one guy getting in. So then there's two guys in my car, complete strangers. I don't know who they are. And one of them's in the back seat with my handbag. And I'm like... Yeah. And then I can't reach around and get it.
Oprah did so many episodes on how women should stay safe. And
I know.
You
I broke
went
every
against
rule.
every
I listened
single
to
rule.
all the murder podcasts,
You went to a second destination.
But once the person says, can I have a lift, how do you say no?
And I spent the whole time like eyeing the guy in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
But it was fine. I just dropped them where they needed to go and I'm like, how are you going to get back? And they said, we'll just ask someone else.
Did you survive?
No, I got murdered.
She's dead. Louise is in Gosnells. Hey, Lou.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, Lou. We're talking about the magic of giving a stranger a lift when they don't really even give you a choice. What happened?
So I was on Orong Road and I was minding my own business at a set of lights and I had someone run up the back of me and we got out and we, exchanged particulars and, I was in an area that's, maybe not the best. She was missing a couple of teeth and when I looked in the car, there was empty Coke cans. There was, they were both, her and her passenger, who was about 13 or 14, was both smoking. And there was just... The ashtray was full. It was disgusting. Anyway.
The ashtray was full.
You really
don't think they cars have ashtrays.
You've painted the exact picture that we're all thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then basically she was like, I just don't know what happened. I think my brakes failed. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. And I think she was just distracted. But anyway, and she's like, I've got to get my friend's daughter to work.
The one that's smoking?
Okay. Yeah, the 13, 14-year-old. To Hungry Jack's in Bibra Lake or Jandakot. And I was, so not close, down Roo Highway a bit, and, and so she's like looking at me and I'm like going, okay, she's like, I just don't know if I should drive because of the brakes. And I was thinking, oh, God. I know I've got my 10-year-old daughter in the back seat of my car.
What was she smoking?
And, she was not. She was busy just watching her iPad on the back of the front seat there.
Yeah, but she was watching porn. Anyway, keep going. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she's like, do you mind if you take her to work? And I'm like,
whoa.
Yeah, I suppose.
Do you mind if I take her to work?
In gets this 13, 14-year-old in the back seat with my daughter. And, and then I was like, okay, so whereabouts do you work? She's like, just down the road a bit. And then she gives me the address and I'm like, it's like Bibra Lake. And I'm heading down to Gosnells. I mean, it wasn't anywhere.
It's not even close to being on the way.
30 minutes out of my way. And then about 5 minutes before we got to Hungry Jack's, she just winds down the window and starts a cigarette.
She's got a long day of work ahead of her, Louise.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything because she might injure me or my daughter.
No, she might injure me or my daughter. This durry smoking 13-year-old in your front seat.
And then I drop her off, she's like, thanks, and gets out. And we're like, okay.
Look, you can't blame her for wanting to have a dart before she started the shift.
Exactly. That's an amazing story. Thanks,
Louise, you're a good person.
You are a good person.
And you're showing that another, can you do this? And people just naturally say yes.
Hey, Pippa.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Hey, great.
Pip. Okay, did you give a stranger a lift?
Sure did. This was a couple of years ago. So I'm not sure if you know where the old Yellow Cafe used to be in Trigg.
Yeah.
I just got a coffee and I was heading back to my car when a couple approached me. And the girl said, "Oh, hi. I'm just wondering if you'd be able to take us to a doctor because my boyfriend's not feeling well and he can't drive."
Oh.
And I said, "Well, can't you give him a lift?" And she said, "Oh, I don't have a license." So I was like, "Oh, okay, jump in."
Sounds like a
both
ruse.
got in the back. They both got in the back seat.
Yes.
So then I was sitting there going, "Oh God, this is probably not a good move."
This is how I die.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I drove to one that I knew was close by on Lynn Street in Trigg,
Yeah.
and the girl jumped out, and she ran in to see if she could get her boyfriend in. They weren't taking any new patients there, so they came back to the car and said, "You know, if there's anywhere else you can
Are you
take her."
joking?
No.
So did they both get out of the car and you
No, he
waited?
wa-
And
he waited
Oh,
in the-
God, that's like they've
Yeah.
left their jacket in the car.
Yeah.
But it's a person.
As a human.
You
Keep
keep
going.
going.
He waited in the car and
Yeah.
she went and checked.
Yeah.
Anyway, she came back and said, "Do you know of anywhere else you could take us?" So all I could think of was one on Carrinup Road near Carrinup Shop,
Yep.
St. Luke's.
Yep.
Anyway, took them there.
Yeah.
The weird thing was the girl had said to me, she said, "Oh, I need to be at the airport in a couple of hours because I'm flying overseas."
Are
And so
you
now I've
joking?
just taken them to a medical centre
Yes.
where they now have no car.
Yeah.
So I dropped them at St. Luke's in Carrinup.
Yep.
They were able to get in there and
Yep.
I waved them on their merry way,
Yep.
just wondering how on earth she was going to get wherever she needed to be to get her things to go to the airport. But yeah, that was my
That
good
wasn't
deed for the
that
day.
wasn't your problem.
Mate.
Yeah.
How,
you're gonna have to
how
do it.
sick was he? Was he really sick?
He didn't look that sick. They were adamant that he was in no state to be able to drive, and really,
And you're looking
the
at him
two-
going,
exactly. And the two doctor's surgeries that we tried were
Yeah.
probably within 5-10 minutes of where we were originally.
yes, that's so funny. All right, thank you, Pippa. Let's see, Sam, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi,
great,
Sam.
Great, Sam.
Hi,
Okay,
Sam.
Cut me
excellent.
off, but I'm back.
Yeah,
so
sorry,
all right.
sweetheart.
Sam, did you give a stranger a lift? What happened?
Yeah, it was a few years ago. My daughter had been to school, and she was at the train station up at Murdoch, and it was a really stinking hot day. And she said, "Oh, Mum, I've just missed a bus home to Bibra Lake. Can you come pick me up?" "Yeah, sure, no worries, not far." Got in the car, got there, and she goes, "Can you take this old lady home as well?"
So what, an old lady just attached herself to your daughter?
And she was waiting for the bus as well to come home, and they'd missed it, or the bus was late, or whatever.
Your daughter is
it was.
beautiful.
And so I said, "Yeah, sure." I mean, this lady was probably 70 odd, and she had a Zimmer frame with her, and
I
she was
love
standing
her.
next to Charlotte, and she's going, "Mum, we need to take her to the Lakeside Villas. Can we do that?" And I said, "Yeah, we can do that."
And you took her?
And we took her to her front door, yes.
Oh, that's nice. You're a good person.
Very, very grateful, but you can't say no, can you? When
You
you're
know,
there?
what though?
No, Sam.
How beautiful is your daughter? You know what I mean? Like that
yeah,
is.
she was so sweet.
You've raised a good one there. That is so
Yeah,
sweet. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're in
All
the
right,
will.
Thank
well,
you, Sam.
luckily none of you got murdered.
That is lucky.
So congratulations on living.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
So we are talking about when you've been let go, a la Adam Simpson, and then they're like, "Oh, but you'll still work a little bit more," weren't they?
Yeah.
Because there was a bit of debate about whether he would or wouldn't coach on Sunday, and it's like, I don't think we should be having this conversation
Sean-
in front of the entire press conference.
Do you think you will coach the last?
Not in a million years.
No. Hilarious. Caroline's in Truett Hill. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, Caroline. So
Caroline,
we
can you
cannot,
relate?
we cannot even believe that they've even pitched this to Adam Simpson. Has it happened to you?
It has. What happened in the 90s, back in the good old days when you had to advertise for jobs in the paper.
Yeah.
I was working at a news agency. I think I'd been there 2 years, and then I basically got told I was too old at 25, 26.
Wow, what? You ancient woman. Yes, keep going.
So you can imagine how old I am now. So then the bosses, because it was a news agency and we were advertising all the time in the paper for different things,
Yes.
they asked me if I could advertise for my own job.
Oh, they made you place the ad to replace you.
Yes.
Oh, that is a dog act.
I was so naive and had no idea at 25 that that wouldn't happen now.
Who was your boss? Leonardo DiCaprio?
My thing is, how does somebody age out of the news agency industry at 25?
I don't know. It's impossible.
People will only buy a magazine off a hot girl, Nathan, and over 25.
Well, it was the 90s, and so they could do stuff like that. And it was, they wanted a younger person, like someone who just left school.
Oh, so you can pay them nothing.
Yeah, that would have been... Caroline, did you do the ad?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you're a good person, better than me.
That's funny, Caroline.
Thanks, Caroline. David's in Mount Hawthorn. Morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Hey, David.
Okay, can you relate to this situation as well?
Yeah, well, look, I was a lifeguard when I was a bit younger and just exhausted one day, fell asleep on the side of the pool, horrendous, and deserved to be fired, let's face it. You don't want to be doing that as a lifeguard.
Yeah.
But look, they said, look, we're going to have to pull a lifeguard off the reception here, mate. You're not going to be coming into work tomorrow, but today we need you on reception. So here's me booking people into the pool, crying, like, yeah, you can go to the pool. It's okay.
You've been sacked and they put you on reception.
Just like, look, we need a lifeguard, so we can't have you. We need somebody else there. Yeah, you go on reception, David. You can sort it out. So, yeah, I'm like, look, okay.
So you were crying on reception? Crying on reception, handing out pool tokens.
Yes, can I get a towel? Well,
can I just say something? It's been so long since I've been at the pool. I just remembered pool tokens. Is it still? Do you still need pool tokens to get in the pool?
Yeah, I know, but I remember them too.
Remember, you give them money, they give you a token, and then you put the token in the machine. It's like, why are we doing this dance? Why don't you just let me in? Heather's in Wellard. Hi, Heather.
Hey guys, how you going?
Great, Heather. Tell us what happened.
So when I was about 16 years old, I worked at this little cafe and I went in for my Saturday shift in the morning and they decided to let me go. However, they didn't realise that everyone that day was going to call in sick. So as I was leaving and got into my parents' car, they rang me to come back and do the shift for the day.
Okay. Did you turn back and go and do the shift?
No, I did not.
No,
Good.
Well done.
What did your parents say?
They were just in shock because, obviously they thought because I'm 16 that I wasn't going to do it. I was going to come in and do it.
Yeah.
How good's that, though?
Oh, that's so good, isn't it?
Because back then when I was 16, I probably would have gone, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because I would have been thinking, I want to get a good reference and they might give me a bad reference. But
Yeah.
I love that you stuck to your guns. That's brilliant.
They've sacked her.
Yeah, good on you.
I mean, from a boss's point of view, don't fire your staff until you know everyone else is coming to work.
That's right. Write that down, everyone.
Fire them at the end of the shift, not at the beginning.
thanks, Heather.
Tips for being a good boss. Brittany's in High Wycombe. Hello.
Good morning.
Hey, Brett.
Okay, what happened to you?
I was about 18 or 19 and I worked for a contracting business and I was front reception, I was the scheduler, I did a bit of everything. And I received a phone call one day from a recruitment agency asking if we needed help with our ad that was placed on Seek.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what's the position for? And it turns out it was my position that they were asking if I needed help with. And I was like, oh, actually, no, thank you, we're fine. And then I cleaned up my desk, didn't say anything, went to my boss's office, and I was like, thanks, I'm going to be going now. And then I explained the phone call that I received, and his face went white.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, we haven't hired anyone just yet. Can you stay to the end of the week?
But
way.
you're obviously going to, and you hadn't told me yet. How rude.
That is
I
disgusting.
left. I think I was
you
at
left.
work for maybe 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and then I just packed up my shit and left.
Good on you.
My
Well
God.
done, Brett.
Imagine that, running an ad without even telling them about it first.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean podcast.
Hey, I was at a football event last Friday and just catching up with a few guys I either played with or played against.
Oh, good old days.
And you throw out those, what are these people up to in particular? But
Like catching up.
yeah, catching up. But what
Thanks for explaining it.
Well, it was more so to do with guys I used to play against, and this is one
catching
guy
up with old friends
that I kind of know. I've known him for a while, but when they play with the opposition, they're enemies.
Sure.
But I knew that he's been living overseas for quite some time in Indonesia and moving around
And
the
that's
islands.
your dream.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So I was
you live here.
just talking to a mate about what that person's been up to, and they were telling me about how this guy that we had a long-term relationship.
Sean's trying to keep the details out, but
trying
I
to keep
fear,
the name out of it.
I fear that you might have given too many already.
Okay, well, that's all right. I'll leave the name out of it. But he'd been in a long-term relationship, but one of the deals was he had an international girlfriend, and then she had to keep leaving Indonesia
to do
for
an
a visa.
international girlfriend thing.
For visa reasons.
Visas,
yeah.
She would do that on a regular basis, and also she would just go home every now and then for a longer stay to visit her family back in Europe. So that was fine.
Yeah.
Until he got a phone call from some random guy who just said, "You don't know me. My name is Mike." And I've just found out some information that you might want to hear, but you're not going to like it.
Okay.
So then he went on to say that he has been seeing...
I thought it was going to be your Netflix payments have gone up.
Oh, that would hurt. $17.99.
It's ridiculous.
Is it 21 these days? I think I paid 21.
I feel that you've wandered from the story.
Sorry.
Go back to where
it
you
seems
were.
to throw me off. So this guy says, you're not going to like this, but here it is. I've been seeing this girl.
Same girl.
It was well over 6 months.
Oh.
But... the reason why he's making the call is because this girl had been seeing someone else.
Oh,
so first of all, he found out this chick had been seeing someone else.
Cheating lasagna.
A third person. And he was heartbroken because
Yes, he
thought she'd been
had
cheated
something,
on.
yes.
Then he found out that the reality was she's had a long-term partner
Yes.
who's been in Indonesia.
So he thought he'd been cheated on, but he didn't realise he was actually a cheater because she was with someone before him, but then there was someone after him. Give me the spans of time. So he was with her for 6 months, the middle cheater.
Yeah.
The original, your friend.
I think a couple of years.
And the newest one would have been probably
I think it's a short-term thing. But so... the guy my friend, he was absolutely knocked off his chair. But the main thing was he was absolutely rapt that he actually received that phone call. Because the guy first said, you're not going to like what I'm going to hear. This can be hard to swallow. But if you don't get that call because someone never passes that information on.
It's a courageous call to make because you're like, do I get involved or not? Or I just break it off with her and move on?
Yeah.
No.
But you get angry at that person who's giving you a call.
There's no bro code there. No,
he doesn't know him. And this guy didn't live in Indonesia where he lived anyway.
So he had to make a bit of effort to find him.
Yeah.
Well, there's not only three. There's not only three. If she has built this around the world, that's the three that have found out.
Yes.
I wonder where this human centipede ends.
How many can you have on the run?
So busy.
How many have you had on the run at any one time, Nat?
One.
Yeah.
And even that's a struggle, I'll be honest.
Yeah. But that's an official way, and that's how Natalie treats her clients. She's not one of those places, Sean.
Would you feel comfortable making that call?
Making the call is the tough thing.
or
I don't know. I think I would just stay out of it, personally.
Look, if I didn't have any real affiliations with them in my day-to-day life, probably.
Yeah.
If it was a relationship that I was ready to say goodbye to, because that's a lot of the times that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But look, that phone call is super important. And to be honest,
it's the right thing to do.
It is important,
but it's a really hard
I watched
thing to
a
do.
video a while back, same situation. This chick found out that she was dating a guy and then found out that she was the person that he was cheating with.
Yeah, she was the side piece.
So she rocked around to the house and as everyone does, they record it. But she had her phone up, and then as soon as the woman answered the door, she said in the interview afterwards something about the woman's demeanour made her drop her phone so that all you can hear is the audio.
Yeah.
And she told the woman, look, I'm sorry, I actually was cheating with your husband and didn't know it.
No.
In your house here.
Yeah.
I came here and none of your photos are around and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I found out that you're with him, and this woman broke down and she was consoling her. It's a full-on thing to do. It's a full-on thing to do. And I wonder if guys are brave enough to share these stories, because whenever we do topics like this, it's very much female-led, which means that guys are bastards. But we know that there are equally amount of terrible women out there doing it the same thing.
Well, I think that some guys are really reluctant to share those stories.
Yeah.
Like that story...
being cheated on isn't something that you did. It's been done to you.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go to Owen. Hi, Owen.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Yeah,
Good,
buddy.
Owen.
All right,
Okay.
Owen. So has this happened to you, Owen?
Yeah, so years ago when I was living in Tassie, I lived in Beaconsfield, little country town.
Yep.
And naturally, met someone online, blah, blah, blah. They used to come down from Smithton. It's, almost 4 hours drive.
Yeah.
And, one thing led to another. We end up dating. We were together for almost a year. And I decided, you know what, I've never been to their hometown. So made the trek, 4-hour drive up to them. And everyone was in shock. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's a shock that, I drove up there and whatnot. And we were just at a supermarket, and the supermarket attendant wrote someone's address on the back of my receipt, and she said, I think you need to go speak to this person.
This
and,
is the
looked
best.
at my partner. I was like, okay, that's a bit sus, but, I come from a small country town, so I was like, I'll take the hint.
Yeah.
So while my partner went to work, I went and knocked on this door, and I said, hi, I got told I need to speak to you about such and such. And they were like, yeah. I'm like, what's the go? And they're like, well, they're my fiancé. I was like, okay.
Whoa, Owen.
Don't mind me asking, how long have you been together for? And they're like, coming on 4 years. I was like, cool. Righto. I'm like, well, we've been together a year. And they just looked at me and they're like, sorry. I'm like, and they invited me in. They were a little bit shocked. They went bright red, shaking angry. But then they're like, look, I'm sorry. I said, look, scream, shout, do what you need to do. And they were like, are you sure? And I said, you're not just, his mate joking. And I said, well, here's the text messages. Feel free to have a read through. I've got nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide. I said, I'm sorry. I have nothing to hide. I said, but, you deserve to know the truth. And to this day, me and that person are still friends, even though, I live in WA. They're still back in Tassie.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we then later on found out that his best friend was also another side piece that was just someone there for when he was bored.
How many sides do you need with a main, really?
And also in a small country town.
So this is the thing.
Yeah.
I want to break this down. She takes you home to where she lives fully. I mean, she would have to have been trying to.
He.
No. They didn't take me home to where they live. I rocked up.
You went to visit.
Okay, I was going to say.
Surprise. I drive 5.
So that was a shock.
Yeah.
So when they found out that you had rocked on the town, did you sense panic from them?
When I seen his parents were like, oh, so this is your friend from Beaconsfield, and I'm like, partner, but okay, because naturally, town, being a gay couple in small country town, I thought, oh yeah, friend, like I'm used to that. I'm used to that term being thrown around, like cat in a sack.
Yeah.
But it was just like when that shop, and it was a shop like I think it was like a small IGA or a small Woolies or something. I can't remember what they had at the time. Yeah. They wrote it down, and actually being a small, mining town.
It sounds like it would have been the good grocer. They do good things.
Yeah. Oh, no, we don't have that in Tassie.
So they're not that fancy.
It definitely wasn't the good grocer.
No.
Yeah.
But this is he's invited you in to their house. Was it weird for you to suddenly, were you spotting photos of them around and realising, wait, there's a life here?
So when I went at the parents' house, because that's the address I knew.
Okay, yeah.
There wasn't a lot of photos of my partner.
Yeah.
Because they'd moved out years ago. But when I went to the fiance's house, there was photos of them with their friends.
So a fully established life together.
All that, and I was like, wow. It was surreal, and I sort of took a step back, and I was like, okay, cool. Because you hear about it, you read about it, and it's like, okay, don't overreact because you're feeling a certain way about this. And in my mind, I'm like, well, we've only been together a year.
Yeah.
The person sitting in front of me that's crying in anger.
Oh.
Yeah, but that anger could be taken out on you.
Yeah, I know.
So
exactly.
I know we've got to get to news, but we've got to get to the end of this. So you've dropped this bombshell. What happened next with the partner? Did they come? What happened next?
So they were due to get home around 5:30 back to their parents' house.
Yeah.
And we both rocked up at the parents' house and just sat there in the living room waiting.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.